are Anka. Stay tuned for updated real news.
Hello, Anka Daily News viewers. We continue to bring you the developments on the invisible fronts of the war. In the Russia-Ukraine war, not only the frontline casualties, but also the deepest strategic moves have become decisive. In this process, both sides are targeting each other's weaknesses, not only with tanks and artillery, but also with cleverly planned attacks. It is precisely at this point that a new form of attack is emerging that is quietly but effectively changing the course of the war. Logistical sabotage by drones. A remarkable development has recently come to the fore, again with a daring Ukrainian operation near Moscow. A fuel train was targeted and dramatically destroyed, demonstrating once again the capacity of Ukrainian forces to strike into the heart of Russia. This attack not only caused physical destruction, but also exposed the vulnerability of the Russian army's supply chain behind the front lines. Such attacks, which radically changed the traditional understanding of warfare, are now becoming the new norm of total war. Such moves, especially behind enemy lines, are one of the invisible but most effective fronts of war. In today's broadcast, we will take a detailed look at the behind the scenes of this shocking Ukrainian operation, the tactics used, and Russia's reaction to the attack. We will also take a closer look at the lasting damage this attack has inflicted on the Russian logistics network. If you are ready, let's shed light on this new front of the war being waged in the shadows. Before we get to our report, though, a quick reminder. The Anka Daily News team is 100% completely real. Neither me nor any of my colleagues are artificial intelligence. Even though AI is very advanced, it's still not as good as us. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our daily reports and explanations. We do read all the comments you leave on our videos, so please continue to share your ideas about our content. Tell us in the comments what content you'd like to see on the Anka Daily News channel. And now let us begin if you're ready. Anka Daily News reports. Logistical battles waged behind the front lines are as important as the front lines in warfare. Recent developments have once again revealed how destructive this invisible war can be. In a pinpoint operation on Saturday, May the 24th, active operations teams of Ukraine's Defense Intelligence Unit dealt a heavy blow to Russia's fuel supply line behind the front lines. In the operation, a kamikaze-type unmanned aerial vehicle, a UAV, recorded the targeting of a train carrying fuel to the Russian army in seconds. The targeted train was traveling between Verkhny Tokmak, Molochansk and Fedorivka in the occupied Zaporizhia region. The train, which was several wagons long, was transporting fuel to the front line and was being monitored by Ukrainian drone operators. The kamikaze drone then approached the moving train, locked onto its target, and within seconds crashed into one of the carriages. Aerial footage shows that some of the carriages caught fire after the impact, while the entire train came to a halt. This attack was not only limited to the destruction of a train, it was also a serious blow to the Russian military's ability to deliver fuel to the front lines. Ukraine's operation reveals that Russia has serious security gaps not only on the front line but also behind the front lines. Experts emphasize that the shooting down of the train carrying fuel means that armored vehicles, tanks, and generator systems at the front are directly affected. because a lack of fuel can directly eliminate the mobility of war machines. The lack of logistical support, especially in areas close to the hot conflict zones such as Zaporizhia, will weaken the defense and offensive capacity of Russian troops. Ukraine, on the other hand, aims not only to inflict physical damage through such operations, but also to gain psychological superiority. Russia's realization that even its supply lines behind the front lines are not secure could put pressure on operational planning. Kyiv's goal is to continually disrupt Russia's attempts to establish a sustainable logistics system behind the front lines. Since the beginning of the war, Ukraine has been making effective use of drones. Initially used mostly for reconnaissance and target detection, these vehicles have recently been equipped with kamikaze models with high attack capacity. This has allowed Ukraine to move away from high-cost and risky operations to deal with conventional armies and towards low-cost and effective technological attacks. Ukraine's drone strikes, particularly against energy facilities, ammunition depots and armored vehicle production centers, are part of Russia's goal of destroying its war machine from within. Although Russia has tried to take various defensive measures against these attacks, the low radar signature and high maneuverability of Ukraine's drones make them difficult to stop. One of Russia's biggest problems in the war is poor coordination and over-centralization behind the front lines. Russia's capacity to protect its supply lines has become increasingly weak, especially as the war has dragged on. The fuel train attack is just one example of this weakness. An escalation of similar attacks in the coming days could completely change the course of the war. Ukraine's drone strikes, which have reached as far as Moscow, have shown that even Russian air defenses are not effective at all points. While this puts pressure on the Kremlin, it also directly affects the morale of Russian soldiers on the ground. Drone strikes not only create physical destruction, but also become one of the most effective tools of the psychological attrition strategy. This attack could be an important turning point in the course of the war. Ukraine's intensification of such attacks behind the front lines could severely limit Russia's ability to advance. At the same time, the impact of these attacks will be multiplied as Ukraine further increases its technological capabilities with support from the West. While the Ukrainian army is gaining morale with each successful offensive, anxiety and pressure are increasing on the Russian side. The Kremlin's heavy logistical losses, especially in the run-up to the elections, may cause anti-war voices to rise in the public opinion. Such pinpoint operations by Ukraine behind the front lines clearly show that war is not only characterized by hot conflicts, but also by deep strategic moves. The destruction of a train carrying fuel has direct effects on the ground, while at the same time causing a serious demoralization in the enemy ranks. Such attacks rewrite the classical rules of warfare. Now, the behind the front line is as much a target as the front line. Acting with a combination of technology and strategy, Ukraine is trying to tip the balance in its favor with low-cost but high-impact attacks. How do you think such strikes will affect Russia's war strategy? To what extent can Ukraine's drone power be decisive in the course of the war? Don't forget to share your comments with us.